Hey team, Jason here again with Volunteer Botanicals, and today we're going to discuss maximizing shelf life for your functional beverage. Now, if you've seen what I've seen, which you probably haven't over the last couple of years, there's been a lot of different kinds of drinks manufactured in a lot of different ways. Not all of them have been successful. So when we want you to begin to craft your perfect beverage, we want to make sure that, of course, that it tastes great, that it delivers the benefits that you want, that your customers love it. But one of the things that some of our brands don't consider is what happens when it sits on the shelf. Does your product stay good? Can it go bad? Do you lose any consistency? Do the ingredients settle out? There's so many variables of making sure that your functional beverage stays shelf stable. And today, what we're going to do is unpack some of the most important aspects of beverage manufacturing, like making sure your pH is right, making sure you're choosing the right ingredients, whether you pasteurize, etc. The goal is to make sure that your beverage is shelf stable. Next is preservation. We get a lot of phone calls about preservatives. What preservatives do I use? Do I use any preservatives? And I would like to say that about 8 out of 10 brands that we work with in the marketplace use preservatives or preservation agents in their beverages. The other percentage is just doing the pasteurizing on the line. And you can't go wrong with preservatives unless you're intending your product to go into Whole Foods or one of those very nature-heavy outlets. Using preservatives is very common in beverage manufacturing. Some of the ones we see the most are citric acid, potassium sorbate, sodium benzoate, and there's a few others that seem to be very, very common in this space. So don't worry. If you don't have a pasteurizer, just make sure you're choosing the right preservatives. And the combination of pH, the right pH and the right preservatives can keep your product shelf stable for a long, long time. So the first thing I'd like to discuss is starting with stable active ingredients. And what I mean by active ingredients is not the fruit juices that you're using or the sugars or the extracts or the purees or any of those fruit forward ingredients. I'm talking about the active ingredients, which means the lion's mane extract, the THC, the CBD, all those botanical extracts that are alive. You have to be very careful. Not all extracts are the same and not all emulsions are the same. So when you're choosing which company to partner with to build your functional beverages, we want you to know one thing. Volunteer Botanicals takes what we do very, very seriously. In our technology, we have verified that our ingredients are shelf stable we've done tests at 1 year, 2 year, and we're moving on 3 year. And this is for the raw ingredient format at room temperature. We've tested things like potency of the cannabinoids to make sure there's no degradation and microbial growth to make sure that there's nothing funky going on. So our commitment to you as you're building your functional beverage is our ingredients are stable, shelf stable, and reliable over time. Let's talk about pH. So pH balance is more than what you think it is. Drinks that are too acidic or too alkaline can cause instability in the emulsions, which can lead to flavor degradation, causing other ingredients to break down, microbial growth, etc. And for beverages that are acidic, that are very citrus forward, buffers can help maintain stability while preventing issues with interaction with taste. So it's important to know that it's just not, does my beverage taste good, but how potentially does the format of my beverage and its pH interact with the other coactives? So what we recommend is reaching out to us through our website, volunteerbotanicals.com, and we can get you on a call with our lead scientist, Thomas, to discuss your beverage and potential pitfalls that you might run into before you get going. Either way, we're here to help. We've worked with a lot of brands building functional beverages over the last few years. And I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but sometimes you crack a can, you take a sip, something tastes a little sour, has a little sour smell to it. That's secondary fermentation, and that's alcohol. Man, I can't tell you how many beverage brands are putting ingredients into their cans that jeopardize the integrity of that can over time. And it's not that you can't put specific ingredients in it. It's just that if you do, you're going to need tonal pasteurizing, and you need to make sure that you're killing everything off in a final kill step. So my word of advice is pay attention to the ingredients that you're placing into your can, because the last thing you want is exploding cans, stinky cans, and cans that have alcohol in it with your THC. Let's talk about packaging. Packaging, you know, there's a lot of different ways to put liquids into vessels, and you could go with glass, you can go with cans, you can have lined cans, you can go with PET plastic, and a myriad of other types of vessels that can hold these carbonated, non-carbonated, botanical enhanced products. And when you're dealing with cannabinoids and botanical extracts, there's a few things you really need to be conscious of when choosing the type of packaging. Most people are putting these types of beverages in cans. Cans work great, but there are some specific liners you might need to consider depending on the type of active, because we have seen leaching of active ingredients into the aluminum cans. Glass is always best, but make sure your glass is dark amber or blue or something that's going to protect it from UV light. Because with cannabinoids as well as other active ingredients, you can see that there is oxidation or changes in the color of the molecule that can sometimes be off-putting if it's not protected. So make sure it's stored somewhere where it's dark. And PET plastic works, but what we've seen is the active ingredients can leach into plastic over time because plastic is very porous. Plus, plastic's not recyclable. So there's lots of other better solutions, unless it's just a quick, easy shot or a short-term product. I would stick with glass or lined cans. And lastly, once you've kind of developed your beverage ideas and put a few prototypes together, think about testing the integrity of that drink under real-world conditions. So you've perfected your formula, it's in a can. Now do some real world testing, right? We've told people to take your drinks and mail them to somewhere across the United States and have them mail it back. It shakes it up, and there's tons of heat and different, exposures it goes through over time. And this just gives you a bigger idea of really how stable your product is. And it's important to account for things like heat and cold and shaking products up. Those are things that are very common when you're distributing beverages and moving them all over the US. The thing that you need to understand the most is we tell our customers, do not heat our cans over 165 Fahrenheit, which you don't have to worry about, and do not freeze the cans. Both of those actions can cause problems with the integrity of an emulsion, and that's just chemistry. And so high temperature thresholds, really low temperature thresholds can be problematic. We can tell you that. Now, everything between there really has to do with your foundation of your beverage and the coactives you're using. And if you have any questions at all, reach out to us. We'll help you.